but they find it within themselves to truly improve.
But guys, this was of course only game number 1. We have another one coming up in just a bit. Before that happens, we're going to hear from our panel once again about what just happened on Curse Hollow.
Well, similar to D.Va's Nitro boost of 0 to 325 miles an hour, that seemingly did the same thing. I turned around for a moment, and then all of a sudden the game was over. What on earth?
Well, I said at the start that I hadn't seen enough evidence on the D.Va, but now I've seen their plays, and I'm a Deliever. I tried.
I'll go with that one. I'll go with that one. Grubby, that was some good stuff out of Nomia to start.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of D fever too.
Oh my god. I just want to throw my book away. Anything other than that?
Okay, so I was a little bit concerned going into the game that D.Va's lack of mount speed would not be able to deal with the Haka split push. There was this. I just want to say this was such a good game from both sides. The way that they were able to like delay the objective every time, like the taking of the curse. Major props to both. Very even-sided game, and it suddenly just seemed to shamble and collapse down like a house of cards in that final fight there, the level 16 v 16, when D.Va said, "You're either on this side or on that side." Good luck. Loved it.
Creating a true no man's land for sure. I think overall though, there were great phases in that game, from rivaling shrines with one person, from everyone rivaling shrines, and you know, those first moments just very much ignoring the map for the most part and just having a good old fight. Fan, I believe you do have a replay set up for us, good to go?
Yeah, I believe the replay is of that very last fight right here. So if we could just slow this replay down, you see that this is the most game-ending play right here.
It's
Just
so
absolutely
harsh.
perfect by Fat94 right there. So at this point, the entirety of SPT, they were zoned off of this corridor. So all of them pushed forward into such a narrow choke right here. They all had to push forward into that narrow choke. They compromised their positions completely. You have a Vala and an Oriole trying to force their way through a choke into a team with an Anubrak, a Li Ming, a Malfurion with Twilight Dream. They just got completely slaughtered.
Look at that epicenter. His second burrow charge is ready already. Gets the 3-man stun again. Just beautiful fight there.
Very well done. And it feels to me like this is the first foray into D.Va territory that we have seen. It just caused chaos for SPT and zoned them out in a terrible, terrible way.
And it's so cool because they're going up against the composition that requires to hold their ground. And Varian can do that. The Haka is the one that's supposed to cause chaos, and Vala Ariel, they're supposed to never really get touched. But D.Va just completely throws a wrench in the gears there.
And one of the most important things about that fight was that was literally one of the only ways that Nomia could have won a fight. You saw that every other 5 versus 5 fight, they ended up losing. The one on bottom tribute, it went on for like 3 minutes. Malfurion eventually ran out of mana and they had to give up the curse. So in 5 versus 5 fights where the D.Va mech isn't critical to the positioning of the fight, eventually the Vala Oriole just outsustains you. They had extremely tanky frontline in terms of Varian and Dahaka. You couldn't really kill anyone, and the Oriole was healing everyone, so that mech explosion there was absolutely beautiful.
And especially around a lot of those tribute fights, there are bushes for Dahaka to just be like, I'm going to become a race car again, come back in and always keep threatening to actually have that good drag potential in. So I guess it's very scary.
It should be mentioned that Dahaka with drag and Ariel with the Daemon Strike, which she did show, can move the mech's explosion to a more favorable position. If the cooldown is available, if the position is possible. But in this case, it just wasn't.
All right, well, of course, don't forget to keep voting over in chat with the hashtag of which team you believe is going to win on Things Out. If you're voting for Nomia now, but you didn't before, that's slightly cheating, but we'll let it go. That's fine. Currently 1-0 up in this best of 2 situation. Now, I'm wondering what map we're going to end up going to next. Oh, no, it was Infernal Shrines, correct?
Yeah.
It was Infernal Shrines. So that is where we will be going next. What do you think the SPT has to do to change things up? Do you think that D.Va's so much of a threat that it has to be banned? Or do you think, because there are still like positions on this map that they can control and zone you off very easily?
I honestly think Infernal Shrines is by far D.Va's best map right now. It's amazing on the objective, and I also think that it's Nomia's best map. Back at Western Clash, it was the map that they looked the most impressive on. It has emphasis on team fights, which they're really good at. I would definitely consider the D.Va ban at this point.
I'm not sure about the ban. I think maybe some more mobility on their part
Okay.
might be good. Instead of just going for a full sustain, maybe just being able to avoid it would be good. Or maybe more knockbacks. Does Gust work against the mech
Yep.
to get
Yep,
rid of
it
it?
actually does.
So it does.
one of maybe stealing away one of Nomia's favorite heroes and also bringing in a counter could be quite reasonable for them.
Maybe
Definitely.
you just pick up D.Va yourself, see how it rolls.
Yeah.
Test drive.
Test drive. This isn't your local Kia directory where you can just go down and be like,
just
"I'll
get
pick
a
up
mech."
please.
Yeah, you gotta bring it back unscratched.
Do you have it in
I'm
pink?
afraid.
Yeah.
I don't think they would take kindly to you exploding it
No.
upon first opportunity.
Probably
That's
not.
fine. You just
no.
get a couple kills and you get it back.
Let's be honest, your insurance from
We
that
didn't-
point on,
yeah.
not in good state.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do not advocate this, by the way.
So a very acceptable bad Super Perfect team. Yes, the D.Va was rough, but that Anub was terrifying. Removing that removes a lot more of that backline threat and a lot more of a follow-up for D.Va if it is picked. And Genji is the counter. We saw how effective it was in the first series.
If Nomia wants to go down the route of D.Va again, do you think it becomes before the second ban phase? Because from looking at how the map goes from 1 to 2,
I personally would. I do believe a lot in D.Va's strength on this map, so
Yeah.
I would, you know, not risk letting them second ban it. You know, they can get it here if they want. Both teams played compositions last map that are really good on this map. Oriovala is actually a powerhouse on
Yes.
Infernal Shrines as well, so it'll be interesting to see how they draft here.
And SPT just needs to make an adjustment to make sure that they have a tool to blow away the mech reliably. That's why I don't think we'll even see it at all, maybe, in this series. Until they get confirmation that SPT lacks the tools to
Right,
deal
right.
with it. I think at most we'll see it as a 5th pick here, D.Va.
Okay.
They need to first see, like, okay, you don't have a way to deal with it.
fair play, fair play. So Greymane Tassadar comes in.
Yep.
So Tassadar is the harbinger of our double support to come.
He is. He has just been changed quite recently, so he is pretty strong at the moment. Good AoE for the Shrines, potential for teamfight potential or zoning potential if you do want to try and trap people inside an area with a mech. There's a lovely ability. Allow me to tell you guys about Force Wall.
Oh,
That would be nasty, actually.
you could even put it on your own side to stop Mighty Gus from blowing it away. If you want
That
to
would
get
be
really
next
advanced.
level if they could achieve
That's next
that.
level meta. Thank you, Gobi.
Yeah.
So
Are
here-
these the things that you test in your games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tomb and then Force
Yeah.
Wall to really cork up that bottle. With
Absolutely.
the D.Va mech.
Yeah.
Totally going to be a thing.
It's called the
Warcraft.
mystery box.
2 years too early.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Warcraft 3 combo here. Arthas and Uther coming in straight away for SPT.
Straight away or
Straight-
Stratholm away?
Straton away.
Strathon.
My
Stratholm.
God.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, once again with the Uther pick, it's looking pretty scary for SPT's side. I will say it does look a little bit better for Nomia this time around, though. When you're picking the Uther into Greymane Tassadar, that's a composition that doesn't have any CC, it doesn't have any stuns or roots, so you can't actually proc Guardian of Ancient Kings from the first 2 picks. So if Nomia wants to, they can refrain from drafting that kind of style that empowers Uther.
Do you think, Van, that is enough reason to just completely go for a damage and slow-based composition? Guardian of Ancient Kings?
I think it's not. Not necessary, but it is a strategy that can work because Guardian of Ancient Kings is so strong. When you have a start that doesn't proc it, you can just continue down the line, getting heroes like Zarya, Tyrios with slows, and just high damage Lunara. You can just avoid the stuns altogether if you want to.
So it feels like SPT has done a bit of research. Cassia was played by Nomia in their qualifying tournament moving forwards, and it did look strong in their hands.
And it's pretty good here against, you know, Vala and Arthas, who put out a lot of auto attack damage, which he's a little bit more impervious to. Kind of cool. A lot of splash damage at the shrine as well. Super easy to proc charge strikes.
Ooh.
Diablo and Nauf. Now that is the second support. That means that Zeratul, which was previously banned by SPT in game number 1, and which was a very powerful tool for Nomia at Western Clash, can still come out to round out the comp here with a Void Prison into Apocalypse Twilight Dream.
It feels like this is one of Diablo's very best maps. Would you agree?
Yep, he does crazy AoE damage onto the objective. The fact is the objective is quite closed in. You can even use Force Wall to set up for that Apocalypse if you mean to. There was a very old style comp, which I doubt we'll see here, but you were around for, I believe, I don't know if you're casting that game, where Virtus Pro would run Diablo and Tassadar, place down the Force Wall, tackle people into it, and then lightning breath them.
That was a long,
it was-
long time ago. That was a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago, but
Yeah.
I don't see why it would work. It's just Apocalypse is better still at the moment. They could still run Lightning Breath, though, for clearing out the shrine and zoning out.
Not only that, but Diablo's health pool is actually just insanely high. It is very hard to deal with Diablo without a % HP damage dealer. We see the Greymane has already been picked away by Nomia, so we see
There's
two
two.
percentage-based damage dealers coming up here with the
Makes a lot
Leoric
of
and the
sense.
Monk.
Yeah. So double support with percentage damage on 3 of the different heroes if you count Valor's Manticore, if you wanted to go for that auto attack build, which would kind of be difficult because you want the AoE and the extra range you get from frost shots. Losing out on that could kind of suck
Can't
sometimes.
really safely auto-attack Diablo that
Yeah.
long as well.
And
Oh my
again.
God, it's
And
gonna
there's
be
the
Diva
Diva.
again.
Hello.
So,
Love it.
Force Wall, Apocalypse, Roots. There's a lot of options here.
I mean, the fact that they have the potential to lock people in an explosion seems kind of scary.
yeah.
5th pick, if anything, Diva. There she is.
Yes.
And you look at the team from SPT, what do they have to control the position of the mech? Nothing. The most, they can catch it with Entomb and say, until here and no further. Like, if there's like a drive-by explosion. But it's just wonderful situation again, really, for Diva.
So as much as they did have the percentage-based damage coming in towards the very end, if Diablo does overstep the mark, there is the potential it gets blown up. But do you think that Nomia is going to fall for that trap, fall for that?
I think they're going to play pretty careful with the Diablo. The Diva can frontline as well.
Yeah.
This draft, personally, I really like how Nomia went about it. Not only did they get their Diva for the value last pick, they also thought about the Vala composition. They took the Tassadar with the Greymane. It's not like the best pairing you can get with a Greymane. They took it sort of as a deny pick to make sure that SPT would not get the Tassadar, followed it up with the Oriole band. So if SPT did want to go double support, they now have Uther Monk, which is not nearly as potent as the other two.
I was going to say that's something that I wanted to come on to, which was the Uther Karazim compared to the Uther Oriel. Karazim as a second support, especially if he's going damage talents, feels like would like to be going into the backline and maybe doing some damage here and being just obnoxious and annoying. But against this comp, it doesn't feel like he has many targets, apart from his 7-sided strike.
Nomia hasn't really drafted that squishily. Greymane gets his armor. He has a lot of mobility.
Yeah.
Tassadar can disappear. Malf has Ice Block and Twilight Dream. I agree.
Yeah.
This is not a bullyable backline here for
Right.
Karazim.
I've got to ask, gentlemen, we're about to get into it. Predictions, starting with Mr. Tetra.
We keep emphasizing percentage damage. Diva is the one hero who can actually reduce percentage damage, as Grubby is so keen on saying in his streams. And I am a Diva believer now, so I am going with Nomia.
Question before we continue. Do you have to Matrix Karazim before he goes into 7-sided, or can you just
I
put it
don't
on
think
him?
it works
as-
on
I
him.
don't think Karazim exists
'Cause he's
while he's
unstoppable.
doing 7-sided.
Right.
He's somewhere up there.
So-
and
yeah,
He's
so-
unstoppable, so it can't
but for
affect him.
Leoric, yes, when he does his train
Leoric.
out, shine the light, and only hero in the game, like you said. So I'm also with Nomia here.
Okay. And Fan?
Yeah, also with Nomia, I mean, when you draft double support as SPT, you really want to win the shrines, and I think Diva is just way better at winning shrines, so I think Nomia has all their bases covered going with them.
They've turned your opinions, gents. That's
Yeah.
some impressive stuff by Nomia there in game number 1. Make sure to keep voting over in chats as well. I think we can check in with how that result has been going down so far.
Wow, everyone's a
shifted.
dolphin. Everyone's aboard with the Dolphins, and who can
As-
blame him after that performance?
As you said, everyone's a Diva believer, my friend. That's becoming a thing right now. They're doing well in this series so far. So thank you very much, gents. Check in with you afterwards. For now, we're going to head over to the commentary team once again. It's Kaldor and Dread taking you all the way.
The Diva hype train has hit hard.
I still can't get over it. The Diva believer. It's a thing apparently here, and Nomia are in fact the ones representing it here, but we are ready for the Infernal Shrines. On the left-hand side in the blue is going to be SPT. Sun Xiao will be on Vala. Wings playing Arthas. Simba on Uther. Leoric played by Melody C here, and ZZH on Karazim.
And all the way to the right side with the 1-0 lead, we have Arcana for Nomia on Greymane. On Tassadar, Robodoba on Diablo, Vanilla on Malfurion, and once again, Fat94 on Diva.
Fat 94, man, he has been a long-standing Australian, New Zealand player and always seems to be at the top of his region. And specifically on melees, we've seen him kind of dabble here and there on what role he's going to be able to fulfill for his squad, but I'm so happy to see him back here onto the Divas, onto those melees, because he is a huge playmaker for the squad when he's up there on the front.
Yeah, and after the last game, I really want to see what he can pull off this time with the explosions here. Hit the Nitros taken once again on level 1 for D.Va. We have a split on the side of Nomia with 3 heroes in the mid lane, and they still have the side soak thanks to Greymane and also D.Va here. So not really the traditional lineup that we usually have here. And SPT is already trying to throw a bit of a wrench into it by positioning Arthas towards the right side and thinking about intercepting rotations.
This is really interesting to see SPT thought process-wise, knowing their composition, to move back into the double support and into the Vala. We expected a lot of the Asian teams to hyper-focus on, you know, the all-in Vala, the hyper-carry Vala strategy. Yeah. And after the first loss, I figured, you know, maybe we would see some adjustments from SPT. Yeah. But they very comfortably, and I guess very, you know, matching the patterns we've seen from them in the past, just say, no, we're going to play our style, and that's the end of it. And so we'll see if they can change the odds here for this game, but I don't jump out immediately and look at these composition and say, this is where SPT turns it.
The confidence in the comp that SPT has is definitely something to highlight here. On the first map, you're completely right. It didn't work out for them, but they're saying, it's not because of the comp, it's because we misplayed at some point and then we lost control of the game. So they're trying it again with a bit of a different setup. But right now, Nomia is the one that has a lot of momentum behind them. This is a best of 2, and we already have SPT with the aggressive intercept at the rotations, but a very good route from Vanilla, stopping that onslaught cold.
I was going to say, John, the minute that dimensional warp went down, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's dead, but thankfully, he's got the backline, or he's got the Malfurion to be able to get that peel, hitting a beautiful route. And it looks like the members of Nomia are going to transition up to the shrine. So last time we saw the one mecha split off Uther to be a point to where it single-handedly feels like it won the fight for them. Now we have a shrine that lost long periods of time. We know that that mech is really going to gain so much value here for Fat.
That was so cool just now. We saw the defense matrix and just negate so much damage from the Drain Hope against the Diablo. Beautifully done. And now Leoric himself in trouble. Wraith walking away, but Fat94 is having none of it. Trying to move in, hits the self-destruct and forces everybody back. I'm loving what Nomia is doing here.
But he did drop it away from the shrine, so he didn't get any skeletal defenders with it, and he dropped it to where it did no damage. So he zoned away from essentially nothing. And now that is a window for SPT to make a play. The pin, the flip over. Melody C falls low, but he barely Wraith walks out. Now Wings is trying to retreat. He is completely and as always, SPT survives.
Yeah, SPT survives, but they are not really getting all that traction that they were hoping here. They're still slightly ahead in the minion count, but we have Nomia equalizing the mount, going in right now once again with SPT taking position here, trying to zone Nomia off, but still 10 minions away as Fat94 is engaging once again.
They're going to commit to it, and Vala taking all the damage. There's the root, and no, Sun Xiao, he gets the eels, he gets the Vala, and he is going to stay alive. Now Robodoba, full retreat, beautiful shield. The mecha's down and back in line. Fat picks up the kill.
Karazim is down, and so is Leoric. Gets a double kill. Nomia with 2 kills, making it a triple as Arthas falls, and Vala barely escaping here. Nomia just going completely ham on the first shrine.
Yeah, it's such beautiful play. And again, the greediness here. No Sun Xiao. He manages somehow to survive, trying to get the last of the skeletal defenders, but beautiful defense once more. Nomia here got the Punisher. Greymane already looking to get Soak elsewhere onto the map. Things are looking fantastic for ANZ here.
And Fat94 and his D.Va is so annoying right now. Not only all the damage negation where we saw the Drain Hope come from Leoric, but after that with the boosters, always isolating heroes and pressuring not only the Karazim, putting the pressure onto Arthas the entire time. A double self-destruct in the fight, once to the bottom, then on the shrine itself. D.Va having a huge impact on this fight.
You know, it's just, I'm looking at how the future of this game goes, you know, because I do feel like, I mean, we touched up on it a little bit. Yes, SPT is running near an identical composition and how maybe that's a little bit weird, but the one thing that stands out the most to me is that it's into the D.Va, into similar, you know, quote unquote problems that we experienced into the first game. So what SPT now has to do is look at what's happening into these fights. We've seen time and time again, it's either a heavy split or it's too sustaining. They think they can out-sustain, but they can't. They have a double support, but into the D.Va, into the Tacit, our double support on the other side, it's just not enough.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm asking myself right now after seeing... Oh, Arcana! Oh, nice kill here. Greymane falling, SPD showing some signs of life here. But my question, if Fat is really able to negate Leoric's impact against Diablo throughout the game, how do you kill Diablo?
That's a good question. It's a very good question. The answer is it's going to be hard, especially with that Tassadar shield. Be able to dish out on top of them, having the Malfurion to be able to back up those heals. But what if you maybe you ignore the Diablo completely, right? You accept the fact that traditionally you would address that, but you're recognizing that maybe, Diva's peel and things and such are too severe, so a flank, maybe hyper-focus a different target. We always know Malfurion, prime target pre-13.
Because I have to say, I'm really worried about this. Defense Matrix, what it did to Leoric as he was trying to put the pressure onto the front line, nothing happened there. And what else do you have in terms of damage? You can go 7-sided later on, and you have Vala, but that's about it. So far, on the other hand, SPD is starting to get a few kills in here as they take down Greymane. Once again, self-destruct being used, but Fat94 finds himself in a bit of trouble for just a moment as once again the max online, but zoned out still, and Fat is having huge problems staying alive here.
Oh, the pre-cleanse did allow him to survive the Howling Blast, but way too much damage coming out here from SPT. And in perfect timing, they have themselves a shrine that they can go to.
Does it feel to you that SPT is starting to adjust a little bit more to the Diva positioning here?
They're just like, remember how, because you look at Diva with the multiple health bars and you go, ignore it, I can't kill it, right?
Yeah.
But maybe giving, too much respect to Fat. The minute they're like, he's up in our stuff, boys. Let's just focus him down. A successful initiation here for SPT.
I'm absolutely loving it. This is what we always talk about when we say meta develops within a tournament. And they're starting to counteract Diva here a bit. Arcana in a bit of trouble. Silence already being used on the side of Malfurion as Simba is moving barely out of range here. But the root against Malfurion drops him and SPT, picking up another kill, turning this into a 5 versus 4.
Once more, a 15-second advantage now for SPT, but they cost them heroics. Diva, the only one heroic available on the side of Nomia. Divine Shield and 7-sided strike still for SPT. So this is not only a man advantage, it's a heroic advantage. Things are now looking like they're going to turn in SPT's favor.
Fat94 going again for the big shot here. We have also 7-sided taken for Karazim a bit late, but he decided to go for it. Diablo, if he's isolated, would of course suffer. Immediately as the Drain Hope comes out, we have Fat94 once again with the Defense Matrix, but the Drain didn't even hit. Diablo moving in once again as Nomia takes control over the Shrine, but Arthas tries to take position.
There goes the mech to be able to zone off a bit more, securing the Skeletal Defenders. 32 and counting. SPT goes in. They drop the 7-sided strike. They drop the Entomb, but nobody has gone down yet. Vanilla withdrawing. He ends up dying for the first time. We got to pick here for SPT in this fight. Can they get anything else?
They lose Leoric. SPD loses Leoric. They're so close to taking Diablo down. Can they finally do that? The Shield of Tassadar comes out and Diablo says, no, it's not going to happen. I keep the souls. And just look at this. It's a double kill. Diablo escapes and then Nomia punishes SPD and moves in. What?
That just broke all the rules of Heroes of the Storm for me.
That made no sense.
It's just the fact that a heroic advantage, the initiation attempt there for SPT, it looks so pretty early on, and even being at a disadvantage, Nomia kiting it around, cycling, creating chaos, and SPT loses the skirmish even though they had such a big advantage.
Melf died so early, and this was like, well, we don't really need Melf, we still have Tassadar, that's fine. Diablo somehow survives, doesn't even lose his souls, and then they just greed a little bit too much for him, trying to move in here. I mean, you could argue, I guess, that SPT maybe was not quite on the same target here, that they thought they could split up since Diablo was already so low. Hindsight being 2020, it would have been better for them to focus on one target, drop it, and then move on to a potential second. But that backfired fast.
And, that's also one hero that is a little bit harder to be able to interpret. What is the damage output is Diablo. Not only because he's got so many health bars, but there's another factor being, ooh, nice stun on the Sun Shell, but it's not going to net any kill, not force the fight yet. There goes the zone out there from the Mecha self-destruct.
Yeah,
all right.
once again.
Just going to be able to gain the front wall. here. Oh, but that Entomb.
The Entomb is good. Defense Matrix is out. 7-sided used, but not doing too much damage here as Robodobo was already on the move out here. The level 13 advantage is also helping Nomia here. SBT is really feeling the pressure.
They very much are. And look at Leoric, they're up in the front line. Just the damage. Again, Defense Matrix doing its job flawlessly. Simba, ate a root, took damage. Melody C is already going to die. SPT is now on full retreat. Wings are going to be the first target. The APOC drops, the flip over, the self-destruct, the Twilight Dream.
The
gets
kill!
him.
Karasim is down. The explosion hitting him, silenced and not able to dash out, and that is kill number 2 in this fight. In the early game, we saw SPT just gathering a ton of kills towards the second objective, but then Nomia all of a sudden doing a full 180 on these fights and just bodying them.
I'm just, it's so amazing that Nomia here can hold their composure after the initiation onto the Malfurion, things falling apart into that team fight. It just, these guys look like a completely different squad.
That had everything. The Entomb coming in, you had an immediate follow by Arthas, a 7-sided coming in, and they just stayed cool.
The whole time, they are cool, calm, and collected. It's just, I feel like this, almost the start of a new era. Beautiful Entomb is going to force John into a bad spot. 7-sided seals the deal, but there's a pressure of a camp up on bottom, a full level lead. Nomia with death timers this short, that is merely a setback.
Yeah, but still they are finally in a position where SPT is at least able to say, hey, we're not dead yet, okay? We might have taken a few hits in the last few minutes, but right now we are the ones establishing a presence on that shrine. Keep in mind that Nomia has only half a level until they're on 16. SPT, they want to make things happen before that's the case.
The first root lands out, but look at Fat, man. He's pretty much 1v3ing there with that defense matrix out. Nobody can move up and pressure him. I mean, the thing is legitimately an AoE shrink ray, and he is perfect value, maximizing his advantage. Wings drops Army of the Dead. This is a fall-on fight attempt here for SPT, but they aren't getting much.
And they don't even have Tacita. It's a 4 versus 5 the entire time. They zone them out again. Fad once more in the mag, but now they're trying to punish him for it.
They try to punish him, but the APOC lands onto 3. Arcaner goes in. Arthas is dead. Wings just gets deleted. Again, Nomia, they see themselves at a disadvantage and say, not today. We, in fact, are a new squad here from ANZ, and they come in. Look at the camp pressuring bottom. They just don't care. They are just flat out saying, we're better.
They also just won a 4 versus 5. Yes, Tessera was there at the end of the fight, but he didn't have any impact whatsoever.
Second one this game. That honestly leads to one or two things on just basic math of Heroes of the Storm. It's one, I am significantly, mechanically, and just individually better than my opponents, or a colossal compositional error. To be frank, I don't know, because I know a lot of the teams have run this double support, double Vola, and a lot would justify it, but it does seem as if Nomia is outperforming. It's not just compositional. They just flat out are ready to be a new version of ANZ. I'm excited. It feels like the start of that region to me.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of a world-class region.
I completely see what you're saying there, and they are just pressuring the advantage even more. Also, an adjustment now taken on level 13 for D.Va. As you could see in the earlier game, we had the expensive plating, but this now is the Blood of armor that we are seeing here being used, trying to just make her even more tanky.
That Punisher, the 3-man stun, I thought for sure there would be follow-up on that, but no.
Oh.
The Entomb.
Maybe the Entomb is good, but they're not capitalizing on it. They had a chance there. Can they still get the kill? No! Fat is moving out.
And he actually baited the go for the throw. It went off a soft reset because the 7-sided strike bought the time. The Punisher got the keep, cycled through mid.
That should not have happened. SPT had a great chance here to get the kill in. And I'm not sure what happened in the communications, but that really felt like everybody was saying, yeah, you got this, I'm moving back.
It was just, I mean, this fight, take a minute to appreciate when Robodoba gets these Tassadar shields as well. Just the auto attack and just the survivability that he's able to get between the Malfurion, because it's not all Malf. I actually think Tassadar, since he got nerfed, a lot of people looked at him and just made him, for some reason, gave him useless. Granted, he's been buffed since the initial nerf that happened to him, but if we look at his direct value in these games, if you try to isolate him, a lot of circumstances, I think many of you will be impressed and the impact John has here in this game.
Yeah, also with the level 4 talent now. We talked earlier that Colors Embrace wasn't even taken in previous games. Now it is.
Yeah.
And that is really just adding to the self-sustain they have in these fights. 90% lifesteal? Hell yeah.
To give you guys an example of how effective we see John being in this game, he's healing more than Uther. He already naturally is going to be more productive there than the Uther has been, not considering the damage output, not considering the wave clear and everything of the like. It's just, I don't know where this composition turns.
Just think about that combo. The damage output that Greymane in particular has to the Alpha Killer even now taken on level 16. And then you get that shield with massive sustain on your auto attacks and you just move in against an Arthas against the Leoric. They move in again and take Leoric down. Even if he gets a little bit farther away here, the explosion is eventually going to take him on. Nomia is... I mean, I'm fanboying this team hard at this point.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it, I think. It's just, now my question is, where does it stop for this squad? Because I don't feel like it's SPT and I don't feel like it's the rest of this game because they are setting a tone to really make a name for themselves.
Also, SPT played in both games so far the double support Vala, and they're going up against D.Va that they might not have expected here. And I feel they have a bit of a better handle in the second game against her than they did in the first, where especially the last explosion, the last self-destruct was something where Fat94 just had an insane play. But this is just one of these things where you have to figure out, or where all the other teams watching this have to figure out, is this a thing? How do we deal with this? Are we threatened by it, or are we completely cool going up against that style?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And again, also because we've seen other teams, it's not just SPT, it's a regional trait to run this type of comp. Is D.Va the direct counter? You have to second guess that. What if it's just D.Va in that comp, against that comp? It's not as a whole, the objective power of her as a hero. So many questions, and right now SPT's begging for answers.
Yeah, to the top, they lost the key, but this isn't over yet. They have a chance here to fight. There's no 20 for Nomia yet, so once again, SPT with an opportunity. Apocalypse being used. Self-destruct is on the way. Arthas moving out, trying to keep himself alive. The root on the ground, but Wings is able to move away as Arcana becomes the target. Everybody jumping on Greymane, but Diablo is there to the rescue.
And he got the peel flipping ZZH over. Melody C has already gone down. Sun Jian, you see him trying, or Sun Xiao, excuse me, trying to get the kite out. Punisher in, catapults up on top of getting a little bit of pressure, but will be building up over time. And if they end up losing Simba on top of this,
Uther
wow,
down as well. 2 heroes alive. Punisher pushing through. This is not looking pretty. Not at all. At this point, this is really rough here. Vala is definitely delivering the damage, but it's just not enough. They do not get these kills.
the question is, Nomia, do you end the game? They've got the 20 advantage. Leoric will be able to join himself here, and Fat94 goes in, is already dead.
Vala is down. Vala is down, and so is Arthas. This should be game. They're going in. Melody C is about to fall. This is the wipe, and they are going for the core. Nomia is 2-0ing SPT.
How? Just, it's just amazing that Nomia is able to show up here in this tournament and have this confidence against China. Granted, there were huge question marks on China, just flat out into this tournament, but Nomia somehow keeps their cool in 4 versus 5s 3 times in one game and still shows up.
16 kills versus 8. They had twice the amount of kills here, and once that Vala fell in the last fight, it was just simply over right there. And the way that D.Va affected all these fights, the way that Fat94 was playing this, was just crazy. The damage negation alone in those close quarter fights was out of this world.
Yeah, and again, you know, like I said, it's essentially the AoE shrink rate, which a lot of times when we talk about supports, you view shrink rate and you're like, you know, it's not taken that often, but it's mainly because supports need to survive. They have a lot of defensive tools there. Often that is where they have to go. But when you give it to a different hero and you aren't losing a 13 talent tier, suddenly we realize that maybe, you know, D.Va's got more to bring to the table than just an explosion out of map.
You know what the best thing is?
What is
it? Was only the second match of this tournament.
Good call.
This MS, like the mid-season Brawl is going to be fantastic, guys. We had 2 matches so far, and they both were great. But of course, we have even more coming your way. But first of all, I can't wait to hear what our panel has to say about our second D.Va game this tournament.
That's right. Thank you very much, gents. Indeed, that was impressive stuff. Why?
We're riveted.
Riveted?
Yeah.
Yes, tell us more, Kalaris.
I remember last time I was here, it was like, oh, story time with Kalaris. Yes, quite. Terrible people. So, D.Va shows up once again and shows a phenomenal play out from Benjamin there.
Wonderful play by Nomia and by D.Va. It's so cool to see the newest hero to the Nexus being employed to such efficacy already. Against no slouch here, SPT from China. Now, the question is, should she have been banned? Would there have been another weapon equally fearsome from Nomia? Or maybe should there have been more to counter? And do they know how?
It's a very good point, Tetra. Your thoughts?
Like right now, I'm looking at these games and I'm like, how do you counter it? You have to somehow move the mech, or you have to stay as 5, because if at any point you are split in a team fight, mech just parks itself in the middle and you have to split even more and then people die. It's such a good zoning tool.
Has Benjamin 94 found his spirit animal?
Looks like it. It looks like it. I mean,
His
the
spirit
only
animal's a 16-year-old Korean pro gamer.
In a mech, yes.
In a giant
vehicle. Non-animal creature. Sorry, continue, fan.
No, I was just gonna say, the only way you could really counter it reliably is with like a false stat. But even then, you put a false stat into your composition, which is not always what you want. And do you really want to be trading Gust for his E cooldown every single fight, just mandatory? It's just, I think the hero is really strong on Inferno Shrines.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. Tetra?
Would extra movement speed, in theory, be super good? Like maybe adjust the Karazim build to be more of a speed boost build with the speed heal to give your team more opportunity to get onto the correct side of it so that you don't split up as much. This is what I'm feeling at the moment might be a less extreme answer.
What about a nerfed Lucio?
I don't know. Yeah,
it
could be Lucio, but I think for the most part, I just want to enjoy this honeymoon of this hero here.
Yes.
Like we're still on cloud
We want
9.
more. Bring us more.
Yeah, like we don't
More
really
people,
need
please.
to solve that issue yet. I've got some ideas, but let's just let Nomia enjoy this one and see whether teams are able to defeat it, because there are counters.
Yeah.
I know of some. I'm not gonna name them all, but there's definitely ways to deal with it. But let's just talk about how special it is that Nomia here, off the back of a Western Clash performance where they overperformed and yet didn't qualify, are now coming back here with a 2-0 victory against one of their most likely opponents for wanting to break into top 4.
Right.
There's 2 teams that, in theory, are out of both of their teams' reach. So this was possibly the most important match
middle
right
split.
away at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. Fan, I believe you do have a replay for us from that game.
Yeah, so the replay for this one would be the legendary D.Va essentially 4v5ing here. If we could just pause here for a second, you can see that the explosion, whenever he wants to use it, you just have to leave for 4 seconds in a huge AoE, basically the entire shrine. You can't do anything about it. That's 4 seconds they can use to zone you away, stop you from getting progress, and they can get progress on the shrine themselves there. And you can see another good play by Fat94 here. They try and turn on him because he has no explode mech anymore, but the Entomb misses here. And Greymane goes right away on the Arthas, and Robodoba follows up with that clutch charge. So from here, Tassadar joins, and they clean up the entire fight. But the most important part of that fight was the fact that they were 4v5ing. D.Va was essentially 1v3ing, and they could buy so much time every single shrine with that explosion that they basically won every single shrine automatically based on the fact that they had the D.Va.
And speaking of our D.Va, of course, we do have Benjamin 94 here. Congratulations on your victory.
Thanks a lot.
So I want to come right out of the gates with, has your life, entirely your life, been leading up to this hero being released and then you playing it? Because you looked phenomenal on D.Va.
I really enjoy D.Va because I feed a lot when I play, and it's like a second life bar. So you can just play really aggressive, and I like to run it down mid, so my team always blames me for feeding. I'm the pinpoint for all the problems, so I just like to feed on it.
Okay.
And now there's a hero that's designed to run it down mid. Perfect.
Are you telling me that you miss original Tychus? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I wish that was back again. I need a second health bar.
Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions for Benjamin?
Well, all jocular modesty aside, the way that you set up some of those fights, particularly game 1 on Cursed Hollow, you got the perfect explosion position at level 16 versus 16. And it was probably the most impactful moment of the game yet, and you actually finished the game off of it. How difficult is it for you to find that perfect angling to get that explosion that just cannot be counterplayed?
I feel like there's so many chokes on Curse Hollow that it's really easy to set that up. It's more the counterplay to it. It's really hard because everyone gets real split up and it makes the comms for the opponent team really hard to play around it because everyone just gets so split up. Some have to run forward, some run back. It's really good for splitting them up.
So prior to that fight, were you nervous at all? Because SPT were winning basically every 5 versus 5 engage before that fight. You know, you had one where Malfurion just ran out of mana. You had one where the guy at the very end just ran onto the boss point. You had to like cocoon him to get him off. They ended up killing you, you know, that time as well. So what did you think?
Yeah, I was pretty tilted when I seen Varian run onto the point because the whole plan for that fight was I was going to bomb and zone them off, but then he had Protect, and then luckily Roba web wrapped him, and so we got that point. Pretty much our whole goal is play for a level 20 team fight every game, so we just try to wipe them. I don't really care about losing early game as long as it's not like 3 levels ahead. We just come back in a good team fight. Just need one to win the game.
So what's your outlook for the group going forwards now that you've defeated SPT? Got a good 3 points under your belt?
Fnatic and MVP are going to be really tough to go up against. I don't have much expectations. They're going to just be try out what we do and see if it works. If not, we can adjust it a little bit.
Yeah.
But going up against Roll20 and Deadly Kittens, we're hoping to put up a good fight against those guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Benjamin, as we'll no doubt get to speak to you later on down the line. Hopefully. All right, so let's check in with the groups to see how things are standing so far here with Group A, as we've just seen Nomia taking a 2-0 victory there over SPT, putting SPT and Deadly Kittens down at the bottom. And now we have one more match to start things off here